I have chosen a story from my genealogy, story from the history books, story of adventure and danger. Stephen Hopkins was born in Hampshire, New England in 1581. He married to Mary and had three children while living in Hershey, England. Mary died around 1616 on June 2nd, 1609. Stephen sailed on the ship the Sea Voyage to Jamestown, Virginia. The ship was wrecked in a hurricane and sank off the Bermuda Islands. There were 150 survivors that were washed ashore on the Isle of Devils on June or July 28th. There they were stranded on the island for 9 months. While there, they managed to build two ships, the Deliverance and the Patience, that ultimately sailed all 150 survivors to Virginia. While stranded on the islands, Stephen Hopkins engaged an uprising against the governor's authority. Stephen claimed that his authority only pertained to the voyage and Virginia, and not to the forced existence in Bermuda. For his crimes, he was placed under guard and brought before the company in manacles, those are handcuffs, and sentenced to death by court-martial. He cried so much and put up such a fuss about leaving his family alone that the sentence was pardoned by the governor. After arriving in Virginia, he sailed back to England and remained there until 1620, when Stephen, his new wife Elizabeth, his three children, boarded the Mayflower and headed to America. Stephen, his wife Elizabeth, his three children. Elizabeth gave birth to Oceanus, their son, while at sea, and two servants, Edward Doyley and Edward Lister. All sailed on the Mayflower. When they arrived at Plymouth, Stephen was involved in most of the early activities of Plymouth. Because of his early trip to Virginia, he knew a lot about the Native Americans. He was used as a translator on most of the first counts. When Stephen woke, or when Stephen, when Samoset walked into Plymouth to welcome the English, he was housed in Stephen Hopkins' home for the night. He was one of three men decided to provide counsel and advice to Captain Miles Standish on the first land expedition in the New World. In July of 1621, he served as envoy to friendly Chief Massasoit, another chief Stevens indulged in his home. Stephen volunteered for the Pequot Wars of 1637. He was never called to service. Stephen signed the Mayflower Compact in 1636. He was assigned to the governor by the late 1630s. However, he had begun to run afoul of the Plymouth authorities. He he opened a shop that served alcohol, which was a bar, and in 1636 he got into a fight with John Tisdale, seriously wounding him. In 1637 he was fined for allowing people to drink excessively in his home, which should be his right. In 1639 he was fined for selling a looking glass for twice what it was worth in the Bay Colonies. Stephen Hopkins died in 1614. It was such a tragedy. He couldn't make an honest profit. Thank you. This has been my speech, and I hope you enjoy it.